Hello and welcome back to us, your horror movie mistresses slash sisters. I am slash sister Hallie.
And I am slash sister Jen. And if you're new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button because you don't want to miss out on any of these horror shenanigans that we have around here.
No, because shenanigans will be had with or without you.
Mm-hmm. And we'd prefer it to be with you.
Right, absolutely. Also, be sure to check out our Etsy store, slash sisters, where you can get some sick slash sister merch like this shirt right here.
Hell yes!
Yeah. And, you know, I had to get it tattooed on me too, so.
Gotta make it permanent. Mine's coming soon. Guaranteed. I just gotta figure out where I think I'm probably gonna put it in the same spot. I do have a spot for it right there.
Yeah, there you go.
So, the other thing we do is custom paintings. Not always on the set, but a lot of them, for like your main ones like Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street and Scream, a lot of those, I have done a painting to be on set for those. Those are available on our Etsy, and patches made by me too.
Absolutely, but all of this is kind of besides the point. That's not why you're here. You are here for horror movie reviews by true horror movie fans.
That's us. Hallie, today we are going to be examining an American horror movie remake of a Japanese film called Ringu, which is actually an adaptation of a novel. It's The Ring. The novel is called The Ring. It's a Japanese mystery novel, and it spawned many sequels, both in literary form and
the Ringu
movies. Yeah.
Well, I guess that basically tells you what movie we're going to be talking about today. We're going to talk about the 2002 Gore Verbinski directed The Ring.
Absolutely. And with that being said, why don't we go ahead and dive down the well and discover the secrets of The Ring?
I see what you did there. The movie starts with teenage girls Katie and Becca discussing an urban legend about a cursed videotape. God, this movie's dated.
I know, but you know what? When I was 18 years old, maybe. Well, this was 2002. Uh-huh. So yeah, 18 years old, watching this movie. I absolutely this was very much videotapes were still pretty relevant in 2002. Not super relevant. DVDs were out for sure. But
DVD, I actually just watched this the other day on the History Channel. DVDs started in 1997. The very first DVD printed was Twister.
Oh, interesting. Very interesting.
Yes, yeah, I'm full of useless knowledge besides horror movie knowledge too.
So yeah,
it dates the film because
it does.
In this day and age, specifically in 2024, you're hard pressed to find a videotape, let alone somebody that knows what a videotape is.
I mean, not at my house. I've got hundreds of beta tapes as well. You'd be hard pressed
you're
to
talking
find
about
those.
okay,
Yes,
right.
Yes. We do have lots of VHS, we have lots of old media at my house. That's my house. You would be hard pressed to find. I mean, really, if you look at Facebook Marketplace, if you go to Goodwill, if you go to places like that, people are offloading their DVDs like crazy. They're just DVDs,
not VHSs.
VHS was long gone, honey. My parents threw all of our VHS stuff away 20 years ago. Okay, so these DVDs that we've got, people are literally starting to offload all of these now too.
Yeah, because everything's going digital media.
We're rescuing them.
Well, I mean, I'm a collector / hoarder.
I know.
You'll see the collection here soon. Mm-hmm. But it dates the film very much so. That and the whole big tube style.
Oh
TVs.
yeah, the old TVs.
But anyway, they're discussing a cursed videotape that causes whoever watches it to die within 7 days. That night, Katie, who viewed it a week ago, is killed by an unseen force.
Yeah, that whole first she tries to trick her friend into thinking that oh, I watched it, and then she fake pretends to die in front of her, and then she actually dies.
Right, but we also get a very a whole bunch of setups of classic jump scares and stuff like that don't get paid off at all.
But then the final payoff of because you two get to see Katie
later in the film. You don't even get to see.
Oh yeah, you don't see it until later.
It's at the end of the film that we get to see how she was.
That's true.
Yeah.
So at Katie's funeral, her mother asks her sister Rachel,
played by Naomi Watts.
Naomi Watts, yep. She is a Seattle-based journalist, and she asks her to investigate her daughter's death. Excuse me. Rachel discovers that Katie's friends or at least a few of them so far.
Her boyfriend,
and then two people from another school.
Right.
All died at the same exact time in bizarre accidents at the same exact time of Katie's death. So, things getting a little suspicious here.
Rachel discovers that they all visited the Shelter Mountain Inn where Katie and her friends viewed the tape. Apparently, because the reception's really bad out there for cable, the guy invested in VCRs and a whole bunch of VHSs to entertain his droves of people that were staying there. Because I'm sorry, there was not a lot of people staying there. Let's
something that I noticed, and we can talk about them. I mean, we can talk about it later when they clearly she goes there. Mm-hmm. She finds out about the Mountain Inn, about Shelter Mountain Inn, and she goes there and she sees somebody working there. Later in the movie, they go back and it's closed indefinitely. That's what the sign says.
I bet you the guy watched the fucking tape.
Oh, I bet you right. I didn't even think about that. Little details.
Right.
Anyways, carrying on.
But she finds and her dumbass views said videotape.
Yeah.
To which she promptly gets a phone call and tells her she's had 7 days.
Initially Rachel's really skeptical, but she quickly begins to experience very strange supernatural occurrences going on around her that are linked to the tape.
Rachel recruits the help of her video analyst ex-husband, but we don't know it's her ex-husband at this point.
We don't know that at this point.
Noah, who is played by Martin Henderson, talented actor, and not a lot of credit. I think about the only other film that I can think of off the top of my head that he did was actually 2 films, Smoking Aces and Torque.
Oh, okay.
Which is a motorbike movie.
I think I pretty much know him from this.
Yeah. But he views the tape against Rachel's wishes, and...
But he's dude, there's a videotape,
Right.
What's gonna happen from a video?
He's adamant that these teenagers did not die because they watched this tape.
Right.
Rachel's unconvinced, but, as they're watching the tape, she identifies the woman on the tape as a horse breeder, Anne Morgan, who committed suicide after some of her horses drowned themselves off Moesco Island. Yeah. I hope I pronounced that right.
I think so, if I remember correctly. Anyways, Rachel and Noah's son, Aiden, we don't... At this point, we still don't know, actually.
It's not until she calls Noah and says that he
our
watched
son watched the videotape. Right. So at this point, she catches Aiden. Aiden wakes up in the middle of the night, and for whatever reason, he can't sleep, and he puts that tape in and watches it.
But not the original one, a copy that she had made.
Exactly.
Because this is an important detail that will come back into play later in the film.
Yeah, so she makes a copy while she was at work. She, basically kind of went into the tape room at the
newspaper or whatever
that she works for. And she ends up making a copy of the tape because she wanted, I don't know, just to take the extra copy, and I guess she was going to leave it with Noah initially.
And he was going to analyze it.
And then she took it.
By the way, did you see who was playing Noah's girlfriend?
Yes, I cannot think of what her name is, but it's the chick from NCIS.
Right.
I absolutely love her.
Right, the goth chick from NCIS.
Yes.
And we'll insert that name here.
We sure will.
I sure as fuck can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember what her name is, but I love her. She's great.
Anywho, Rachel heads to Moesco Island to speak to Anne's widower, Richard, while Noah travels to Gale Psychiatric Hospital to view Anne's medical files.
Yeah, because she was admitted to the psychiatric hospital after all the horses started committing suicide. Rachel discovers that Anna had adopted a little girl named Samara, and she possessed the ability to psychically etch images onto objects and into people's minds. So she could put an image into your mind and kind of make you go crazy, which is what happened to her parents and what happened to the horses. And honestly, as we come to find out as Rachel's on the island, what happened to the whole island?
Mm-hmm.
Because as the doctor ends up saying to her, I don't know what happened to her, but I know that things have been better since she's gone.
Which is sad.
Yeah.
Noah finds a psychiatric file in Samara that mentions a terrifying video record last seen by Richard, which he tries to impersonate, and like, you know, he's like the guy's like, man, what's your secret? Diet and exercise, dude. Diet and exercise.
Right. Well, that was after he tried to get access to him and to the like files, and they were like, "Are you family?" And he was like, "Well, I'm a cousin or whatever," you know. And they were like, "And now," you know. So they he breaks into the place.
Right.
Anyways, returning to the Morgan home, Rachel ends up finding a fake birth certificate proving that Samara is not actually the biological child of Richard and Anna.
She also discovers the missing video that Noah was looking for and was last checked out by Richard himself.
Yeah.
Actually last viewed and stolen.
Yes, because when they get to the spot where he's like, "Yeah, I'll show you the tape," and then he's like, "Oh,
okay, now I'm pissed."
Now I'm pissed, right? Because he's like very particular. About
he's very protective
his
over
stuff.
Which I mean, I'm the same way. I mean,
yeah.
you see. Yeah.
You don't see, but I see. You'll see someday.
But in which Samara explains her powers during a therapy session, because apparently she was also in a psych ward.
Yeah.
Richard insists that Samara is evil and commits suicide by electrocuting himself.
Yeah, in the most ridiculous.
By the way, Richard is played brilliantly by Brian Cox, who is no stranger to our channel because he was in Trick or Treat last Halloween.
Yes. And I'm sure he'll be visiting our channel again because he's in some pretty awesome horror movies, actually. So I would love to do The Autopsy of Jane Doe someday. That's a fantastic movie. Anyways, Noah and Rachel find a loft in the barn at the Morgans' house, which the Morgans use to isolate Samara from themselves and the rest of the world.
But not the horses.
Yeah.
Which is why the horses went insane.
Mm-hmm. There's an image behind the wallpaper that they ripped down of a tree. And Rachel actually recognizes the tree, not just from the video, because it is in the video as well, but as the tree that is up on the hill at Shelter Mountain Inn. Which
I'm curious as to how Samara knew about that.
Yeah, there has to be some kind of family connection there.
Maybe if they ever do more sequels to it, we'll learn more. But until then, they return to Shelter Mountain Inn, led to a well beneath the floorboards. Rachel falls inside and experiences a vision of Anna dumping Samara into the well. Actually, she puts a garbage
bag over her head and tries to suffocate her.
Throws her down the well. To which, I think Noah asked, how long do you think a person could survive in a well like that with no food and everything like that? And Rachel's like, 7 days.
Mm-hmm. Weird. Samara's body surfaces from the water. At first, actually, when she first comes up from the water, like, she looks like Samara, but eventually it is revealed that Rachel is just holding a skeleton.
Well, it's like the skin and stuff melts
away from her body. Yeah. But afterwards, Rachel is rescued from the well, which, like, thank God, because they had no way of getting her out.
Yeah, it was a good 40 feet down.
For sure. So they get her out of the well, and they arrange for Samara to be buried properly.
So Rachel and Noah, thinking that they have done the right thing, bringing closure to this girl's unsolved homicide and story and everything like that, they go back home, and Aiden is very foreboding in the aspect of, why did you help her? You shouldn't have helped her. It was a mistake to help her, and Rachel realizes that Noah's 7 days is pretty much up at this point.
Yeah, and she's trying to figure out, like, why was she spared? Yeah, and Noah not spared? Mm-hmm, because then Noah's nose starts bleeding, right? Signifying, like, he's close, and he has the little, like, hand marks on his arm too.
Anyway, Rachel is, like, barreling through Seattle, trying to get to him, calling him on her cell phone.
Calling Noah. Right, because Noah watched it before
Aiden did,
yeah.
And all the while, a ghastly figure crawls out of a well through the TV screen and unalives Noah.
Mm-hmm. We never get to see Noah's face, though.
Yes, we do.
Do we?
It's for a split second.
It's like not long enough, though.
No, just like Katie's face.
Yeah.
It's like a split second, and it's all right here at the end.
Right. Unable to figure out why she was spared, Rachel realizes, actually she sees the copy of the tape underneath.
Well, she destroyed the original. She
fire,
broke it, threw it into a fire, and was like, "Why was I spared? Why was he killed? Why was I spared?" And then she sees the copy underneath the table or chair. That was what Aiden had watched.
Yeah. So then she has Aiden make another copy, like literally, like she like grabs his hand and like makes him do exactly what he's supposed to do to make his copy, and yeah, so she saves him by having him make a copy.
Right, and Aiden posterizes the question, what's going to happen to the person that watches this? And then fade to black.
No, actually, fade to fuzz.
Right. Static.
Cut to fuzz. Cut to static. I have to say, the first time I watched this, I very much felt like I was like, dude, you just cursed me. That's what the point of this was? Like, is Samara trying to get us to all watch it now too? Like, what's the deal here? Is she actually haunting? I remember being very scared of this movie the first time I watched it.
The first time I watched this movie, mind you, we were younger when the first time we watched this, because this is 22 years ago.
Yeah.
22 years ago. It definitely had a very much more traumatizing effect on me then than it does now. Like, I was able to sit down and watch this and not even be like remotely. But I wasn't even like desensitized.
We are. The thing is that I've seen this movie quite a few times. I've seen Ringu. I haven't seen really the sequels or anything like that because I'm really not interested in seeing. From what I've heard, it's not great. Anyways, I've heard the newest one is pretty good actually. What's it called? Rings?
Rings is the third one. Ring 2 is not that bad. It actually does follow
the story.
Rachel and Aiden again. And Samara, obviously.
I think maybe I have seen Ring 2. I don't know. The thing is that I've seen this movie enough times that I'm pretty desensitized to it anyways. But I remember the first time watching it, like, it shook me. To my core. Like, it scared me a lot. Like, I don't think I slept well for a while afterwards. Like, I watched it with my best friend Julie and our friend Jessica, and it was just, I will never forget the feeling that I felt watching that movie.
Well, it's interesting because on the DVD copy, this specific one, actually, there is a hidden Easter egg special feature on the DVD.
Oh, really?
That if you find it and access it, it is actually the cursed video.
Is it? That's cool.
And you cannot stop it. You cannot pause it. You cannot back out of it. The only way you can stop it is to literally turn off the TV.
Huh.
Otherwise, it will play through its entire thing, and then the phone will ring. Not your phone, but the phone on the thing. On the TV and everything.
So fun. I love it.
And you're gonna watch it.
Yeah.
Right now. And now you're all cursed too.
Yep. You're welcome.
Yes, thank you for coming to our TED Talk.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, this is a bloody machete up for me. It still holds up, I think, pretty well, even with the dated
technology
of it. Like, I still see it being still a very significant story that can still scare generations today.
Story-wise, it definitely is a bloody machete up. It's just the dated technology of it. I mean, honestly, you could swap out the fucking VHS and make a DVD.
Or Blu-ray.
Or Blu-ray. Yeah. Or even 4K. I don't know how you can copy a 4K yet.
Yeah, I don't know either.
But no, it's a bloody machete up for me, too. It was definitely a creepy factor the first time I watched it. Not so much now, but story-wise.
But it's still, like, it kept me engaged. There was no time that I was watching it that I was like, alright, I'm fucking bored. Mm-hmm. You know? Like, it's still, like, it's one of those things where you're like, oh yeah, then this happened. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. It's a great movie. It's a great movie.
It is a great movie, and you should go watch it after you've watched the cursedness of what we just showed you. So yeah, go watch that.
Maybe make a copy by sharing this video with other people.
Yeah.
There you go. That's how you get out of your curse. Share this video with other people.
Yeah.
Anyways, so let's get this the heck out of here.
We are gonna send this straight back down the well. Bye, Samara.
Bye,
go curse someone else.
Yeah. She's a cute kid, but
honestly, the biggest problem that I had with that film is Dakota Fanning played Samara.
No.
Yeah. Dakota Fanning played Samara. And
in the rain?
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
That's not Dakota Fanning.
It was at this moment that she knew. She fucked up.
Girl. Excuse me. And not Dakota Fanning, for sure. You can fast forward through this. It's always funny when you do that. Making until I'm talking about this. Like, yeah, it's definitely not Dakota Fanning. Let me look at it. Ring. I think this will give it 2 points. Did you look this up earlier? Davy Chase.
Oh, yeah. Not Dakota Fanning. Devon Chase.
Yes.
Or Deva Chase.
Okay, so not Dakota Fanning. Davy Chase or Davy Chase.
Right. But she...
Who would go on to do other things? She was in Donnie Darko.
But she's the voice of Lilo.
Yeah.
So every time I heard her talking, all I heard was Lilo talking. Because Lilo and Stitch is one of my favorite Disney films. So much so that I can do an impersonation of Stitch. I'm not going to. But all I heard was Lilo's voice.
Yeah,
every time
that's
she was
distracting,
talking.
I'm sure.
So, like...
She doesn't have a whole lot of lines.
No, she doesn't have a whole lot of lines, but being engrossed in the film and then hearing her voice, it instantly took me out of that emotion of it.
I get that, totally. So,
anyway...
What should we do next, Sally?
This
next one that we're doing it's pretty close to the same time period.
It's about 5 to 7 years
afterwards. Yeah.
But it's also dealing with videotapes too.
Mm-hmm. Let's take a look at our very first found footage film on our channel.
I wish we were doing what I really originally wanted to do for found footage for the first time, and that was the Blair Witch. But we're looking at...
We're going to skip forward a little bit. We will get back to Blair Witch, we promise.
We're jumping forward 10 years, actually. 10 years.
Yeah, 10 years exactly. From 1999 to 2009.
For Paranormal Activity.
Dun, 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 dun.
A film that was, very low budget, very independently made,
extremely low budget, and had the biggest return on income, or on investment,
for a horror movie since Halloween.
And really, they said, ever.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, it's, I think there's only one movie that's ever had a bigger return on investment, in opening weekend. And I don't remember if they even listed what it was, because it must not have been that important. Maybe it was Blair Witch. Could have been. Anyways, so come back 1 week from now when we talk about Paranormal Activity.
Until then, be sure to slash that subscribe button.
And stab the like button.
And ring-a-ling that gray bell so you don't get lost in the mix and can stay up to date on all of our videos that drop on YouTube.
And until next time, we will see you all in the afterlife.